and we voiced concerns that were sensitive to the African American community, and we asked questions, and the questions were answered where we're all satisfied with the answers, and we're a unified front right here. We had a wonderful time, wonderful dialogue, wonderful fellowship, wonderful interaction. It was a great day here in Trump Tower today.
What were your concerns? What were your concerns?
I didn't have concerns because I was already convinced, but there were concerns that the liberal media has put out portraying Mr. Trump in a light that I know he's not the type of person that he was depicted to be. So what we were able to do today was allow people to see his heart for themselves.
He spares no one. He was forgotten, but he was someone.
Before I get started, I just want to make a brief statement, a disclaimer. The statements in this video are not directed towards all Christians. There are plenty of Christians who actually believe in what they profess to believe in. There are plenty of Christians who actually are concerned about social justice issues. There are plenty of Christians who actually care about the plight of the black community, and they are actively engaged in the community. So I just want to be clear, this video does not apply to those people. This is for the people who met with Donald Trump and for others that this criticism applies to. I declare war. Today, 100 black pastors, 100 black religious leaders met with Donald Trump. Originally, this event was supposed to be an endorsement of Donald Trump. And many of the people there actually did endorse Donald Trump. But there was a lot of pressure on these pastors to back out of it, a lot of pressure on them to leave this meeting or not to attend the meeting. So under pressure, some of these pastors decided not to attend, and some of them attended, but they said that their attendance was not necessarily an endorsement. You know, at first they were going to call off the press conference because people were saying, well, they weren't endorsing Donald Trump. But then, you know, they went ahead with the press conference, and you had statements from some pastors supporting Donald Trump. And you had Donald Trump surrounded by these black pastors, these black puppets, because that's what they are, puppets. Their support for this man is unconscionable. It is an absolute disgrace. No black person in good conscience can support a man like Donald Trump. This man is nothing but a bigot. He's a demagogue. This man has supported people attacking a Black Lives Matter activist.
Well, I may have a chance to do that, but I will tell you that the man that was I don't know, you say roughed up, he was so obnoxious and so loud. He was screaming. I had 10,000 people in the room yesterday, 10,000 people, and this guy started screaming by himself. And they, I don't know, rough up. Maybe he should have been roughed up, because it was absolutely disgusting what he was doing. This was not handled the way Bernie Sanders handled his problem, I will tell you. But I have a lot of fans, and they were not happy about it. And this was a very obnoxious guy who was a troublemaker who was looking to make trouble. But Donald Trump, I didn't get to see the event.
We appreciate your time this morning. Thank you for coming on.
Here we are, black people are being killed every day by the police. And too often, the police get away with it. Too often, the police are able to kill black people with impunity. without facing a day in court. And when the few officers are actually tried, they actually walk. So the issue of police brutality is a very important issue. That is an issue that Black Lives Matter has been pushing. That's not just an issue for Democratic candidates. That's not just an issue for Republican candidates. That is an issue that should be put at the forefront of every single candidate that's running for office, whether they are running as for president or senator or congressman or mayor or state representative. Every single politician must deal with the question of Black Lives Matter. Instead of dealing with that very crucial question that is important to black people, this man, Donald Trump, dismisses Black Lives Matter. In fact, he goes beyond that. And he actually supports people actually attacking a Black Lives Matter protester. He basically endorsed what his supporters did when they attacked a Black Lives Matter activist. That's unconscionable. Also, this man has spread misinformation about black crime. He spread like these false statistics on Twitter about black crime. And you people want to sit down and meet with this motherfucker? Have you lost your damn minds? Have you lost your minds? I'm going to just break this down. He tweeted a picture that said, blacks killed by whites, 2%. Blacks killed by the police, 1%. Whites killed by the police, 3%. Whites killed by whites, 16%. Whites killed by blacks, 81%. Blacks killed by blacks, 97%. So this tweet, this image, projects this idea that black people are pathological, that projects this idea that black people are violent, that black people are criminals. And in the description box of this video, I will include an article that it points out how those statistics are way off. It points out how Donald Trump basically was rated as having his pants on fire, which means that he was lying his ass off. And this is the person that these Negro sellouts met with. This is the person that they meet with. They don't have any problems meeting with him. In fact, you had these tap dancing, boot licking, shoe shine, Uncle Tom pastors who actually endorsed this man. They actually said that they have no concerns about the things that he has said. We're talking about a man who's made racist comments about Hispanics.
When Mexico sends its people, they're not sending their best. They're not sending you. They're not sending you. They're sending people that have lots of problems, and they're bringing those problems with us. They're bringing drugs. They're bringing crime. They're rapists. And some, I assume, are good people.
Suggesting that Mexican immigrants are rapists and criminals and drug dealers. As a people who are victims of discrimination, the last thing we need to do is support a candidate who perpetuates discrimination, who perpetuates the hatred of others, who perpetuates intolerance. That's the last thing we need to do is support a candidate like this. So I will include a link to this article that debunks those statistics that this man provided on Twitter. People want to talk about Christian values. I actually heard one of those people, and I think her name is Amarosa. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it correctly, but she appeared on Donald Trump's program, The Apprentice, and she was actually one of the so-called pastors at this meeting. She talked about how she believes that Donald Trump is committed to Christian values. You must be out of your freaking mind to believe that he is committed to Christian values. One of the values of Christians, I'm taught, is love your neighbor as you love yourself. This man doesn't love his neighbor. This man talks about bombing his neighbors. This man talks about closing down mosques. This man talks about registering Muslims. This man talks about closing the borders. This man talks about denying Syrian refugees sanctuary. This man doesn't espouse Christian values. These politicians love to pimp these black pastors. And they are willing harlots. They are willing to sell their very souls for attention, for status, and for a few coins in their pocket. They are the house Negroes that Brother Malcolm taught us about. Here you have this man making all kinds of racist statements. And you have this house Negro pastor talking about he has no concerns. Have you lost your damn mind, Negro? This is the era of independence. Nowadays, we don't need any pastor to tell us who to vote for. We must be free-thinking individuals. We have to do our own research, our own homework when we decide which candidates we're going to support. We cannot afford to be sheep led by these corrupted, these compromised, these bought pastors. See, you got a new generation nowadays. When they see things like this, it causes them to lose hope in these pastors, in these fakers, these damn hypocrites in wolves in sheep clothing, these false prophets. The people have lost faith in these false prophets and these hypocrites and these damn sellouts. They have lost faith in that old slave religion that teaches you to love your enemy. They've lost faith in that old slave religion that teaches them to obey their master. They've lost faith in the religion that teaches them to turn the other cheek. It's because of these types of hypocrites, these types of sellouts, that they don't have any faith in any religion. They've had it with religion. You see these people come out. They can come out to a meeting with this rich white man. With this rich white man who doesn't give a damn about black people. They can sit down and meet with him. They are willing participants in their own people's oppression. They can come out for this kind of meeting. But where are these pastors? As JAMAL BRYANT pointed out in his video, where are these pastors when black people are brutalized in the streets of America by the police? Where are these pastors? You can't find these pastors anywhere speaking out. You can't find them. You have communities plagued by violence. Communities like Baltimore, where over 300 people have died this year in gun violence. What the hell are these churches doing about that problem? What are they doing about that? What are they doing about poverty? What kind of housing are they providing for the poor? What kind of services are they providing for the poor? What the hell are they doing? What are they doing? These churches need to quit allowing themselves to be used and pimped by these no-good politicians. These politicians are snakes. They're like snakes in the garden. You can't find them any other time other than election time. They want to come into these churches and pimp these churches out like pimps pimp out prostitutes and have them walk in the street selling their body for a few dollars. That's how they pimp out these churches. That's how they pimp out black people. And I'm not talking about Democrats or Republicans, because both of those parties come to black churches around election times with all these false promises and false hopes to gas you up and get you out there to vote for them. And after you're done voting for them, they give you nothing in return for that vote. And when you look at your community is the same that it ever was. But these fake pastors, they couldn't care less. The only thing that matters to them is money and attention. If it's not about putting money in their pocket, they don't give a damn about it. You got some of these pastors. One of these pastors actually said something about how they believe that Jesus died so that you could have financial prosperity. This is how lost these fake pastors are. This is how far they have strayed from the word that they profess to believe in. As JAMAL Bryant pointed out, they're not standing up to Pharaoh. These politicians aren't standing up to Pharaoh the way Moses stood up to Pharaoh. Instead, these pastors, they just want to be close to Pharaoh. They want a seat at Pharaoh's table. They want to become Pharaoh's counsel. They want to be Pharaoh's buddies. Meanwhile, our people die. Meanwhile, this racist bastard celebrates the attack on a Black Lives Matter activist. Meanwhile, every other day he's saying something is racist, something is sexist, something is completely disrespectful towards those who have disabilities. This man is a pig. And these sellout pastors should be ashamed of themselves. And it's up to the people in these congregations to hold these pastors accountable for their treachery.